Welcome to the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. Whether inside or outside the loop, we are talking everything soccer in Houston. Y'all ready? Let's get it. Houston, welcome to another episode of the Bayou City Soccer Podcast. My name is Rudy Segura. I am glad to be here with you guys on a Tuesday night. I am not alone, however. I am joined by my co-host and friend, Cristian Putalias. Brother, welcome to the show, Cristian.
Buenas noches. How's it going, everyone? How's it going, people? On a Tuesday because, as Rudy's hat says, or is it Swarm City? Is that what it is?
That's what they call it. I think it's so weird, but you know what? I'm not going to hate whoever. Labels are labels. But, dude, it was worth staying up late. I will say that since I had to wake up early. You probably did too as well.
My day off, but yes.
Oh, there you go. You got lucky. But I was like, man, at least I told you guys, in comparison to when we stay up with the Dynamo and the Western games playing in Seattle or San Jose or wherever the hell they play in the West, sometimes the results aren't great. But it was for the Houston Texans, so we'll leave it at that. And as follower of the teams here, clearly, right, football is king in Texas, so we'll continue to hope for them to, I guess, win on Sunday, and especially since we're still kind of in the off season, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Who wouldn't love to see the Texans, at the Super Bowl go that far, get a Benito Bowl, as people are calling it, but
Benito Bowl,
Bowl. But yeah, that'd be for another day, dude. It's obviously it's been a little bit over a week since we last spoke. We talked a lot about transfers more than anything. They weren't really confirmed. I will say that it is kind of nice that obviously they were rumored, and so far it's been 3 for 3, if you can call it that way. There's one more that seems to be looming probably by tomorrow. We'll find out before Thursday's open practice for the media, which I personally, I don't think I'll be there, but Dustin will be out there, and Ricky and Aldo, I think, will be out there creating content. So looking forward to the season being back, Christian. But anything news, I guess, for you this week? I like the hat, by the way.
Thank you.
Those colors. Didn't that team get sold, or something happened with that team?
No, it's still around.
It's still around. It just doesn't.
I like that.
Yeah,
it's pretty dope. No, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they did. As far as I know, they're still part of the Astros.
I think they're still part of the. Well, no, that's the thing. I think they're not part of the Astros anymore. But I think.
Oh, really?
I think they sold them.
Interesting. No,
I know of is still staying, but I think so. Somebody can fact check that, since I'm not too fond of the entire story. Yeah. But funny enough, like one of our favorite Jay says, what are you eating, Chris? Everybody wants to know what you're eating.
Sorry, I had to stop by, but get some of that.
Some of the
M&Ms of this world.
Dude, I don't know if you've ever been, but they have which the Astros are starting to do as well, I guess maybe since they weren't in the postseason, but they have like Christmas lights, and so you can go into that stadium, that Space Cowboys Stadium in Sugar Land, and they set it up quite nice, and you can walk around the stadium. And I every time we go is for that. I've never been to an actual game, and I've been saying like we need to go, and I was telling my wife, I'm like, I think they're either sold a team or something happened, so I don't know if it's gonna happen. But because they do have like a
low water park, like for the
splash
kids
pad or something.
It's very nice. It's a very nice spot, especially if you have little kids. It's awesome because they have the splash pad and then just like a regular playground, but they also have like a bar next to it, to basically for the parents, and you can like just watch the game from that side of the field, and it's pretty cool. They put it well together for like family entertainment, and I know they do a lot of other stuff, so it's fun times. I've been there a couple of times.
Nice. Yeah, I need to go check it out. What's it called? Okay, so I was thinking, yeah, man, it's been a minute since we talked, but we actually did a little quick live recording in Twitter spaces or X spaces, however you want to refer to it. And it went really well. It was quite a few people were listening. I mean, it was very like last minute, last second. Started by Dustin, our own Jefe, was like, "Hey, it looks like Hector is coming. Let's go ahead and talk about Hector."
Yeah,
So
that's crazy news right there.
crazy news. So
We didn't have that in our last chat that we had. That wasn't even in our radar. We didn't even sometimes just to be transparent. Sometimes we know stuff and we're not supposed to talk about it, and we don't. We do pretty good about not talking about it. But this time around, we had no idea about
yeah,
Achachi.
yeah. It came. You're right. I mean, we get sources or reliable sources from elsewhere. While people may think that the Houston Dynamo Club gives us all the information, we do find out other stuff kind of happen around. And it was rumored that Hector wasn't going to continue with Toluca, and he was possibly moving to the MLS. And we were like, we all assume, we know that his son is here. I'm assuming the rest of his family is here as well. And it didn't seem likely just for how he left, the contract situation more than the spitting aspect of it, which I don't know if you saw some of the comments up there recently, but I think I know Hooties is always busy, so I doubt he listens to us as much as he used to live. But they posted that tease earlier today about what trophy is missing, and that boy put Hagtua is missing, and I just started laughing, and I was like, yeah, we get it. That's the tease for Héctor Herrera coming back with that 2023 U.S. Open Cup trophy. So hopefully that breaks and becomes official by the club. But yeah, whenever we heard that rumor of him returning to the MLS, I think my first reaction, he's coming to Austin, right? Because from the very beginning, before he landed in Houston, it was spoke about, Hector mentioned it, that Austin was the first one to came knocking for his services before Houston, and he declined it right back in 2021 or however long it was. And with all the circumstances, it seemed like it would factor, like it would make more sense, right, for him to go to Austin or even Dallas. But yeah, as soon as it kind of broke that, he's returning back to Houston, it was like, wow. Like you said, it just came out of nowhere. And yeah, Jay says Austin EU. Yeah. Madeline, you guys convinced me it wasn't happening.
It's true. Yeah, because I remember we would chat and guys would be like, I think Dustin maybe, I don't know. I'm gonna throw his name out there, even though I'm not sure. But he'll be like, nah, there's no chance. And yeah, and I mean, me too. I would have said, I mean, he didn't leave I don't think he left in bad terms, obviously, because if not, he wouldn't have come back. But I think it was basically understood that he was getting overpaid for the amount of minutes, and it didn't seem plausible for him to come back just because it seems like the team was moving forward. I think with the departure of Brooklyn Reigns, it kind of maybe opened the door for somebody, especially Brooklyn Reigns and what was the other Brazilian that's keeping my mind? Urso. So you basically lost two guys that playing maybe not the same position or something similar, but I think it opened the door to not only get Bouzat, who's going to play that position for sure, but also you need somebody that can maybe back it up. And yes, I mean, I think Achachi didn't play a lot in Toluca. He was more of a depth piece type player, and I think that's what he's going to be here. I don't know if you want to get into that.
Yeah, but, let's get into that. Yeah. Well, before that, I one thing that I wanted to mention was exactly that. What you said is correct. If they would have, went ahead and opted for the option to keep him around in 2025, that we're going to keep the same exact salary, and he was getting, clearly overpaid for what he was providing. Yeah. And it was even made even more clear when he ends up going to Toluca, and from making close to $6 million a year, Toluca's paying him, I think I saw the number about $750,000. So I mean, he took a massive pay cut, and it makes more sense. It didn't make sense to keep him then, because even if you had to structure a deal, a contract, if you would have told Hector, hey, we're gonna pay you $750,000 instead of the $6 million, it would have been an insult, right? It would have been like, why entertain it? Because maybe instead of 6, we have to still keep him as a DP and give him obviously maybe a 2-year, 3-year contract. at this point, we don't know what the terms are going to be. I mean, he is going to
I
be
think it's one,
36
right?
years. I believe so. I think
Yeah.
it's going to be a 1-year deal, which again makes sense.
Yeah.
Everything is kind of, it's going to be very salary cap friendly for sure.
Yeah.
Again, and because of that, I when I talked on Thursday or the day that we went live, my train of thought was, we know that he had a really good relationship with Ben Olsen. It was him and his kid played together, right? Like both of their kids played together. So you know that they kind of spend time outside of the working environment. I mean, you could see it on the pitch. They always seem to celebrate and come together, obviously, in the positive moments of the game. And you can talk about a lot of the offseason issues that Héctor Herrera was going, and maybe what kind of led for him to kind of lose his marbles a little bit in that game in the playoff when he spits at a ref and all these circumstances. But I think you take that with a grain of salt. That wasn't the reason why he left, and because of that, the bridge was never broken. I feel that it was amicable, and having him back is great. Now, you already, you mentioned the players there were obviously confirmed by the club. Was Lucas Halter, the defender we talked about, a captain from Victoria. Then you have Agustín Bouzat, captain of Vélez. And then the last one was Guilherme from Santos, also a captain. So I think the Captain's FC title of this podcast is very relative, because then you add the true captain in Héctor Herrera, right? I think it's important that he's coming in, but from what I mentioned, and I don't know if you were able to listen to that conversation, Chris, I know you were busy, but the fact that if you take everybody in, he's the leader of men. We know this. So whether he is here to just be help the squad in the locker room and kind of build that up again, I think that's really what he's getting paid for, what they're bringing him in. But I really would not be surprised if February 21st he's starting, and that doesn't mean he's going to be your starter and the one you build around and you rely on. But I think because he already knows the system, know how Ben Olsen wants to see the team play, I wouldn't be surprised if he's given that, responsibility to kind of bring back bring back like what we were used to seeing from the Houston Dynamo, and eventually kind of pass the baton to another player in the back.
Yeah, I was actually, funny enough, you talk about that and you mentioned that. On my way home right now, went to a birthday party, took the kids, and on my way home I was thinking, I was like, man, like like you said, there's so many captains in this team. And I was just, kind of playing mind games in my head in a way, like who's gonna have the captain armband for like the beginning of the season. Let me talk about this, and then I'll talk about Achache if he's going to play or not, in my opinion. But I think, I mean, the way that I see Ben Olsen, he's, even though like obviously the way of soccer that has the evolution of soccer, it's different nowadays, and they play more of a modern soccer in a way, right? The way that a lot of teams are playing. But I think he's still kind of old school when it comes to like, the respect of the players. And I think Arthur is going to keep the armband, unless Arthur is a type of guy that, is like, oh, like the true captain came back, let me give him the armband. That might happen. But I think also Héctor Herrera might be a type of guy also kind of old school, would be like, nah, like you earned this. You were the captain last year, keep it. I wouldn't be surprised if any of those guys have it, but I think the way that these guys come and I think the respect that they kind of like have and the relationship they have, because I mean you can tell that they were friends too. Whenever both played together, there was a relationship there, and I wouldn't be surprised if they leave the captain armband to Arthur. Especially having Shevchenko back as well, and he's like another captain in a way. I mean, and I think going into also another aspect of having a lot of captains is it's what gives me the confidence that this team might be a good team in this year coming up, just because you're going to have a lot of players with a lot of personality. You have two potentially center backs that are captains. I mean, I think I mentioned this last time, people in the midfield are going to be captains, people in the wings are going to be captains. Up front, they're going to be captains. And I think there's a lot of captains that are going to be playing in the field. And when you have that amount of personality, I think the team would be a team that is going to be hard to mess with, mentally. Obviously, the whole soccer side of thing, it's different, but at least in the mental, it should be a team that can go far just because of the way that they're going to be able to present themselves against difficult teams. And I think matureness too, because a lot of these guys are older, either in their early 30s or about to get there. And they have that confidence of being captains and just moving there. Second point, real quick, I don't think Hector is going to start. I mean, we didn't see him a lot in Toluca, or at least as I know, he didn't play a lot. He only came in, in the last few minutes to kind of, replace a player or just kind of bring in some experience. And I think that's what he's going to continue to do. I know in our group chat, a lot of people have, different opinions. Maybe he can start, the first 60, or he's going to play the last 30. And I think he's going to be one of those guys. If he does start, he's obviously not going to finish a game. I think physically he's not there 100%. Will he play more than half of the games? I think he will, but I don't think he's going to play every single game, 90 minutes every game. But I do think he's going to get, a good significant amount of minutes to kind of show his presence and make his knowledge, I guess if we can call it that, his experience known on the field. He's going to be a great piece, like you said, not only in the field but outside of it. And he's going to be also the bridge between all this, Hispanic guys in a way with all these Brazilian guys, because I'm sure that's going to be a little click. We saw some pictures of them all going out. And Arthur is also going to be that bridge of the Brazilians and the non-Brazilians and the MLS guys and non-MLS guys, because I think that also plays a big role, because most of the guys that are coming are not MLS guys. And MLS is a weird league that you kind of have to get adapted to, the travel and all these things. And having Hector, a guy that already went through it for a year, and having Arthur, a guy that has won championships in this league, I think those guys are going to be able to fit in the new guys really, really quick into what the MLS is.
Yeah. No, I think you hit really good points. And talking about Hector, I mean, he did play, looking at they play Apertura and Clausura, and he played 18 matches on both, but his minutes were extremely limited. I mean, in the first, I guess, Clausura that he was a part of when Toluca won the first championship, he was playing a little bit more. He was given more minutes, but towards the end, he was more of a bench player coming in the last 10 minutes of games. So he wasn't really playing much at this point of his career. I mean, he is, again, 36-year-old player that at this point, his legs aren't, he's 35, going to be in April, he'll be 36. Yeah. So, his, like you mentioned, I think how I see it is, if you ask him to play 60 minutes, I think he could give you that. And I think that could be, again, if my way of thinking is that he'll start, that's probably what you'll see him do. But I could relatively see him coming off the bench and giving you 20 to 30 minutes as more of a closer that, and again, we're waiting for it to be confirmed. It looks like it is going to happen. But whenever you're talking about the guys that were confirmed, right, like Guilherme and Agustín Bouzat, and those two guys specifically, 30-year-old Brazilian, 31-year-old Argentine. You mentioned about their leadership skills. It's there. They obviously their attributes and skill are there for the stepping. And then the younger guy, the defender, the 25-year-old Brazilian. One thing that you said, and I want to just touch on before I give you the mic once more, is that the transition is going to be a little bit more difficult than MLS, but I feel confident that because of the amount of Brazilians in this team, that transition is going to be a little bit easier, as I saw them right now at the Toyota Center towards the Rockets.
Yeah. And also, I think it's important to know where they come from, because they weren't captains in tiny teams. Maybe Victoria with Halter, maybe it's a team that you're not accustomed to seeing, week in and week out.
Botafogo that in the year prior that went to and won Copa Libertadores. So they've been in tough situations or in teams that competed, right? And then you have Santos. I mean, he was playing alongside Neymar,
who it's a personality of itself, and being the captain of having to be there and having to deal with that, I'm sure is different. And then what I know of Bella Sarfield in Argentina, it's not a team that can be. I mean, none of the teams can be taken lightly, but it's an institution that a lot of people look up to because of what they've done. And just in Argentina itself, like there's always the discussion of who's the sixth big, because we have the five giants or whatever it may be, and then people are always like, oh, who's the sixth one? And then Vélez is always in the conversation of like, oh, they're part of those legendary clubs that they have won like world club World Cups and stuff like that. So it's one of those teams that is always fighting for something internationally too. So being a captain of a team like that, I think, is also a big plus to have in a team like the Dynamo that, as much as we want to be, one of the big clubs in the MLS, we're not, right? We're pretty much looked down upon year in and year out, and I don't think a lot of people respect the Dynamo as a team, as an organization, especially with all the stuff, extracurricular stuff that is going on outside of the soccer part of it. And I don't see a lot of people respecting the club as is. So coming from big club to like a little club or a small club, I guess we could say, in the Houston Dynamo, and try to build something there, build a type of character, build a type of person, build a type of institution through the players that can be respected in the MLS and the league, and hopefully it's the beginning of consistency, because that's the only thing that kind of keeps you up there. When you look at Seattle, when you look at Philadelphia, when you look at LAFC or LA Galaxy, or maybe not Galaxy lately, but our teams that are always competing, our teams like even Timbers, that people respect the organizations, the weight of the team or the weight of the club itself, it brings some weight. The name brings weight, and I don't think the Dynamo has had that in the last 15 years, especially with owners that didn't care, and then you had GMs that probably didn't do their job correctly. And I know a lot of people don't like the current even ownership or GM, but I think, me personally, just looking at it, on paper and what they've done, I mean, you went from an organization that wasn't doing anything or much at all, and it's a team that, yeah, we as in Dynamo missed the playoffs last year, but I think, I mean, if you look at the years previous, they were competing and they were fighting, got a championship, a US Open Cup, I guess, and you just got to build that. Obviously, reputation first. You got to win your reputation at home. I think that's very important for your fans to respect you, and I don't think that is happening today. So if they can do that first, be respected in your own city. Obviously, they have a lot of competitions with all the professional teams that are here in the town. But once they can get a little bit of respect from the town itself, I think it would be a lot easier to get respect from out of towners and the league as a whole. So
yeah,
I don't know.
absolutely.
We'll see.
Yeah. I was looking at the rumored transfer, I guess, but threw it out there, and I was actually looking at the name. So Guilherme, Augusto, and Agustín Bouzat. So there's going to be a lot of confusion at times.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the Brazilian goes by the first name only, but either way, he is rumored to be joining the Dynamo for $1.9 million, and makes him a DP. I don't know at this point if he is one of those that he can eventually get bought down, but it still means that there's one DP out there. And I saw Nestor ask, do you believe we, referring to the Dynamo, get another signing other than Ache? We'll talk about that. I want to say yes, but we'll dive into that. And then Agustín Bouzat, rumored to have come to the Dynamo for a pay transfer of $682,000. So, I mean, the Dynamo are investing, and they're investing, well. The one for,
and that's not bad, because I think a lot of people in Argentina were expecting $1 million. So 682, I mean, that's pretty good, because it's almost half, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's a
You
good
take
deal.
that. Yeah, that's a good deal. And the stats and the not the stats, what are they called? Numbers. The analytics are going to tell you that, some of the derivatives of what makes a good player And so sudden, I don't know if you follow Asher Mendelsohn, but
Oh
he's
yeah.
very open in everything that he kind of mentions, and he talks about the different, what the numbers mean and all that. And it's something that, Dustin and Joey have always preached. Obviously, we even got Dynastats out there as well. And they've always talked about this, about how, those measurements are kind of difficult to gauge in some areas. And it was good to see, Asher kind of make a point of that as well, saying how the numbers aren't really there, which make
You
a lot of sense, right?
yeah.
It's always been a thing that we've discussed here. You and me are more of like looking at the game. You can definitely see if somebody's good or bad. I don't need a stat to tell me what they're doing, but there is a lot of there is a formula to the madness when it comes to some of the numbers out there. While they aren't, blue or black and white, obviously.
There's a joke in Argentina that I've been hearing in the last couple of weeks. It's kind of vulgar in a way, but I'll say it. It doesn't. There's nothing wrong. Like it doesn't say anything wrong, but it could be taken the wrong way. But here's a joke. So they say stats in soccer is like a bikini, right? It shows a lot, but it doesn't show you the important things, or
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
you know that's good. That's the way that people, in at least the ones that I've heard in Argentina, at least two people that I've heard say that joke about stats in soccer.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Take it as you want it. I think it has a lot of. It does make a lot.
No, it has a lot to do with it, because if you go into like the Texans, for example, something we talked about, that's one thing that inflated stats are one thing you hear all the time
Yeah,
about, certain players are, and I'm not talking purely the Texans, but in football, they'd be like, oh, that quarterback has this amount of, yards, but look when he's getting them. He's getting them in garbage time. So who
yeah,
cares if he put 400 yards in one game? They still lost. And it was like, by then, no one cares. And so
yeah,
that's kind of like more or less what's behind that.
yeah,
But when it comes to it, it depends really on the defender, like how he defends, or how an attacker is, doing their job. Are they doing short passes? They're doing long passes. Are they like a one touch, breakaway type of player? So
yeah.
some of those numbers are gonna definitely be much different. But it is good to see, as Nestor mentioned, getting more South Americans for sure. I mean, getting Brazilians and Argentinians does not hurt. Uh, you know, so that's great that they're doing that way. And now, okay, one thing that I wanted to mention, and we'll kind of move into possible, players coming in. Uh, One thing to note though is that they showed the players that are wearing numbers. We have Lucas Halter going to be repping the number 5,
R.I.P.
RIP downstairs. And then Bouzat's gonna wear number 30, RIP. Junior Urso's number there,
That's true. I
but
forgot about
Guilherme
that.
does not show a number, and so
Mm.
this is purely a conspiracy.
And also, we saw McGlynn change his number, and he had
McGlynn is number
16,
8
right?
now.
So
Yeah.
that was a clue right there too.
No. McGlynn was 21.
And was he
21.
with 21?
Yeah. So what I was telling Dustin is like, I guess he did it whenever we saw the picture before
Yeah,
the whole actor. We saw that he was wearing number 8 for media day.
yeah.
And so once we heard the rumor for Héctor Herrera, I was like, well, no brainer. He probably tried to get 16 because that's the number he's worn
Oh, okay.
with Philadelphia and elsewhere.
Gotcha,
And they
gotcha.
probably tell him, son, you got to rethink the number you want. So, go with number 8 made a lot of sense. So 16 should be back if Héctor Herrera it's on his way in, since it's vacant. But that leads you to believe, okay, Guilherme hasn't picked a number, clearly. Otherwise I would have put it out there. He's your
Yeah,
DP, right?
exactly. Yeah.
Your DP, you want to put that number out there so people start buying their jerseys, aka Manny Olivares, watching us on the Bayou banter. But no, in all reality, we know that Exon is likely leaving. Granted, he has what number 33, I think, in the thing. Like, I don't know if he'd be going out on loan or whatever the case is, but I think that's a rumor we saw. Obviously, there's a rumor out there that Nelson Quinones was being looked at by teams in Colombia to bring him back. He wears the number 7. And then the one that we heard, and I think we talked about last week, was Ezequiel Ponce, right? You're one of your DPs that out of nowhere looked like, was looking, inquiring about his services. as the option B. But here's my thing, Chris, and kind of going with what could potentially happen. Granted, I can't take it with a grain of salt. We'll find out more later. But there are rumors that are out there that, Houston is doing their best to get Mateusz Bogusz. We talked about him a little bit. This guy that played in LAFC for a couple years before going to Cruz Azul and just being a total bust there. But if you read between the lines, Cruz Azul tends to not be. There's a lot of buzz that go over there for sure, and they waste a lot of money. They have a lot of money, and while the team has done well in making it into playoffs, some other players are not in great shape. I actually saw another guy, Borja, one of their strikers, also issued there.
The Colombian?
The Colombian. He's trying to leave. God. It looks like,
but he hasn't even played yet.
Yeah, so there's a lot of issues. I think
I don't know if we're talking about the same one.
No, it is I'm pretty sure it's the same one. I'm pretty sure he's a Colombian guy. Yes,
from River.
Miguel
he
Borja.
Literally just got there.
Yeah, so he's trying to leave because they were saying that he hadn't been registered for Liga MX, and Liga MX started last week. So there's some kind of issues kind of happening. Yeah, he said they just bought Borja from River. But they were saying that the guy's been trying to figure it out, and he's kind of already like, bro, I just got here and I want to go home, basically. So anyways, so if the whole bogus situation is correct, then Cruz Azul's trying to get every single penny that they wasted. And son, this is not a slightly used Toyota Corolla or Toyota Camry that you're gonna get a lot of your money back. I mean, this is a guy that obviously didn't work out. And it's not whoever's Bison's fault to pay full price for this kid, right?
Yeah.
At this rate, you look at the numbers. What have you done for me lately? And it's not looking good.
Yeah.
So originally, I think we heard that the price tag was around 6.5 million, and then it went up to 7.5 million, and they're trying to get 9 million out of them. But here's my train of thought here. With this whole Ponce situation. Obviously, if the Borja thing is for whatever reason not working out, or even if they just need to add another guy, could we potentially see some kind of, player plus catch transaction? I mean, I'm just throwing out and again, Pumas is still like a suitor that was looking for Ponce, so that could also be a thing. But, Guilherme holding out a number means to me that he's going to take a number of a player that is currently in the roster. And however, again, it would make a lot of sense.
And you would have 10 in Santos.
He did. So it would make a lot of sense for me if you are, because then you start thinking like, well, where are you going to put, your DPs? I mean, you're going to have 2 striker DPs when you always play a 4-3-3. I mean, someone's gonna sit out. We have always obviously talked about all the wingers there in Houston. Whether it be Anali, would be Guilherme, would be where you put Dwayne Holmes, where you're gonna put I'm blanking of his name, and I should know Jack McGlynn. There's so many players that play in that offensive side, and you're just going to start running out of space, especially if, this thing with Mateusz Bogusz is not going away. It's not closed. It's not official. Clearly he wants to leave. I'm sure him and the Dynamo probably have come to terms, but it's more of a Dynamo and Cruz Azul situation. But what are your thoughts? I know I just threw a lot of information out there. And again, this is mostly speculation in my behalf. There could be some truth to what I'm saying, but this is just me kind of gathering all the information and try to decipher it for my own.
Let me see what. Let me pull up Tom Boger or Bogusz on X. I don't even know how to spell it.
It's Boguz.
Hold on, sorry. The silence is
Boguz.
Bueno, I think I don't know much. I think you have probably a better idea. I mean, everything you said, I think it was on point. And like you said, who knows? Who knows what the hell is gonna go on? I mean, 6 minutes ago, some random dude said La caída totalmente de Miguel Ángel Borja. Me comentan que el entorno del jugador pedía jugar, al no encontrar respuesta se fue. La directiva, para cubrir su cagada, mandaron a sus groupies a decir que si volverá, Cruz Azul quiere ahora retener a Bogus. So
That,
apparently, I don't know who
yeah.
that is. This is not a real source. It's just random, literally Don Juan Perez.
No, but that's
But
what I've
who
been
knows,
seeing.
right?
Obviously, I've been seeing that he could possibly, um, not end up with Cruz Azul with all the issues
Yeah.
they're running into. So for me, it makes a ton of sense that you don't have a striker anymore and you're losing Bogus. So what can you do there? Kind of work with me. I'm sure Houston doesn't want to pay, 9 million cash
No,
for this
yeah, no.
cat. So, you paid 8 million for Ponce. You kind of weigh your options and be like, hey, we can give you Ponce and something. That would
Wasn't
be what I would do.
wasn't Cruz Azul looking at Chucky Lozano too, or is that a
Yeah,
different
so
thing?
no, you're right. That's
So
another guy that they're speculating now. I think the last thing I saw with Chucky, there's a team in Spain that is looking for his services. And it all has to do with how much Chucky gets paid. I think he's asking about 6-7 million, and I don't think Cruz Azul would be able to afford that.
yeah,
And so there's a lot of moving pieces for
there's a
sure,
lot.
and it's getting tricky. And this conversation is something you don't really hear Houston Dynamo
Yeah.
kind of being intertwined with. So this is why the speculation is so good. And someone's talking about who replaces Escobar. Felipe Andrade will be the one who replaces
Yeah.
Escobar for the time
And
being.
and talking about signings, I mean, you have to, look at depth in those two sides, because I mean, Dorsey never had a competitor for that spot, and Holiday left, right, if I'm not mistaken, and now he literally has nobody to compete with him. And then on the other side, we had Andrade and Franco went, who was also his direct competition, and now there's none there. So if not moving on quick, but you have to look at who's going to be coming, for those spots. Are we going to bring in MLX, the MLX two guys, the MLS Next Pro, whatever? Are those guys going to move up and be the backups, or are you going to bring in something to compete? Are you going to use somebody kind of like Michael Holiday that they got, in one of these random deals, not under the table, the quiet deals that you kind of get later on? They're like, oh, we signed this guy, by the way, and never see the light of day, but you just have him there just in case, or what's going to happen there. But obviously, all the important, or all the eyes are on Bogus. What's going to happen in this novela with Ponce,
Yeah.
Bogus, and everybody else above. But it's interesting. It's interesting
This
for sure.
Oh, I messed up. This is not the right one. My bad. Let me remove that.
Whoops.
Yeah. Let me see. Well, I was trying to look for the updated roster thing for the Dynamo,
Yeah.
but just to kind of get an idea of how many teams are there. I thought I left it somewhere. Anyways, long. We'll look at it. But it is interesting, and like you said, there is, I think, some of the guys that they obviously sign for as homegrown contracts are gonna definitely kind of get pushed into the first team to compete, to be in practice. Same thing with some of the draft picks they added. So you hope that those are obviously pieces that eventually are dead pieces and they grow out of. But as if you would think about what happened with Mikael and all those issues run into, obviously, if those guys aren't ready, because it's very obvious they don't have that professional experience, then you're going to find yourself in a really weird, issue as you did last year,
Yeah.
even with the amount of very good players that you're bringing in comparison to who left. So it is very important. Maddie says, are the Dynamo, do they keep the 3DP and 3U22? I think they will. I think if especially from what Pat Onstad last mentioned in the interview we had with him before Thanksgiving, was that it looks like they're going for that setup, the 3DP,
Yeah.
3U22. And there's going to be some players that were U22 that won't fit into that anymore. I think Quinones is one of them. He should be slotted into just a regular international player at this point and kind of away from that U22. So
Mhm.
they still have wiggle room for sure, man.
Because right now Ponce and Guilherme are the two
DPs,
right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Linger was one. Obviously, he got bought down.
Yeah.
And again, we don't know. If there is one DP coming, then Bogusz is the one that obviously everybody's speculating that he's the one that comes in and makes it 3.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, that rumor surrounding Ezequiel Ponce makes you like think, okay, that could open another one, and kind of how do you attack that and so forth. Because and even if you think about it, there's right now Ponce doesn't really have a backup either, right?
Yeah.
We've talked about this.
Yeah,
We
I
talked
guess
about
you can say
was his backup, but the new guys, I think there's 2. Well, for sure the first guy that they picked up, the first draft pick, he's a guy that could contend, but it's night and day when it comes to Ezequiel Ponce.
I think Lingy, he would be like the direct backup for him in a way. I mean, he's the only one that has played that position other than Seago, if I'm not mistaken, right? The number 9, kind of like the lone attacker.
Yeah, and I think with those guys you get more of a false 9 type of thing,
not a box guy. Yeah.
That's Pumas bought their A option. Some guy from Toluca. No, they're that's I think actually was
yeah.
That was a midfielder.
Yeah, Jaden. I don't know if I think we said it last week. We are so we have a source in Mexico that told us that the option A for Pumas was a guy from Europe. Was an Argentinian playing in Europe, and Ponce was option B just in case that option B was not available. So I don't know if I guess
they did get a guy from Toluca, but I thought he was more of an attacking midfielder. Yeah. Like I don't think it was the guy that it was kind of mentioned from Europe that they're trying to get. So again, this is all speculation and kind of it's fun because we don't get to fun that out. Kind of put in 2 cents, trying to play Detective Pikachu and
put your head on. Yeah, I mean, hey, you were the one that brought up that whole picture with Ponce and the number on the leg, right?
Right.
I don't know if you want to say it, but
no, exactly. I mean, I even noticed that there's a picture of Ponce in the website. The number is very blurred out. You can't see. He's still a part of the squad. Everything else, the number is fine, but in that specific picture, it's kind of odd that it was. You can tell definitely altered, so the number wasn't in there. And again, it just makes you think, right? I mean, granted, we could be, overthinking this. Maybe other guys are switching numbers. Maybe Linger doesn't want to be number 9 and, wants to switch it. With Ponce, you don't know. You don't. Because this is what happens. Every year, though, some players will change. But an Argentine giving away number 10,
difficult.
Doesn't seem like a possibility.
Highly unlikely.
That's a very coveted number, right?
100%. That's
if you're an attacking player in Argentina, you're not giving that thing away. I mean, that goes as far as hell. It goes as far as like the World Cup 1978 with Guilherme, basically, that I can remember. So,
literally. Because I don't know. I don't even know where that came from. Because wasn't Pelé number 10 too?
The Pelé was number 10.
Yeah, and that was like in the 50s.
Yeah.
I wonder. I guess we would have to look up.
But I think Argentinians are the ones that have number 10 as a striker. Is more of a thing for you guys for some reason than other places.
No, not as a striker. No, not as a striker.
Because I mean, who had it?
It's more an offensive, like an offensive mid.
Yeah, that's true. But I've seen,
because literally, like us as an Argentinian, we don't talk position. When we talk old school us. When we talk positions, when we talk positions, we don't talk like left wing, right wing. We talk like by actual numbers. So like if you're playing, I don't know, on the right, like a right winger, you're 11. If you're playing on the left, you're 7. If you're a right back, you're number 3. If you're left back, you're number 4. Even the center backs, the left-footed center back is number 6, and the right-footed center back is number 2, and like that's how it goes. So number 5 is the defensive mid, number 8 is the attacking mid, the box-to-box, whatever. So like we're very religious when it comes to our numbers. Like we talk about de qué juega, like what does he play? Juego de man. It's funny because I was having a conversation with one of my buddies right now at the birthday party, and he was like, yeah man, like we play a league on an over 35 league. I was like, I'm almost there. And then he was like, so like if you play, what do you want to play? And I was like, well, I can play, and I was like, in Spanish, I was like, puedo jugar de 9, de 5, o de 4. So I literally just gave him numbers, but he completely understood what I meant, like position-wise, what I would like to, which is a random.
He
As
can
a
play
striker, a
striker,
defensive mid,
and
or a left
defender.
back.
Yeah.
Like I'm all over the place.
That's
but I was
funny.
like, those are the ones that I feel like run the least.
Yeah,
So I'll play
right.
those.
Yeah, goalkeeper
But-
run the least. So
Well, yeah, technically, but I
I'm kidding.
suck, bro. I
Yeah.
suck as a goalkeeper. So, but yeah,
no.
I don't know. Ponce dropping or leaving the number 10 would be hard.
Yeah,
Going back to that.
and again, that's why it's interesting. It's
Yeah, it is.
if we're gonna speculate as we wait for more transfer
It's
news.
fun.
But the only reality. Oh, somebody put Solari the Racing will fit good. Solari, that's Solari's kid.
I don't know. Maybe
Racing. I just know.
Racing have a lot of good players.
Yeah. I don't really keep up with the argument. I even asked David, who helps him with doing Spanish articles, which they should be back this year. So be on the lookout for that. I don't know if he'll be part of the podcast for a while. He is pretty busy. I need to try to figure that out.
Get that going ourselves.
Even if it's maybe if it's every other Tuesday, at least for now. So I figured it out. But I asked him like, hey, have you heard of Agustín Bouzat? And he's like,
nah, yeah, literally, me neither.
Yeah, like they're so because you guys. I mean, it's understood. Understandable. You don't look at the whole league, just like you wouldn't look at the MLS. And 100%. So it's like your team is your team. Yeah. And so I could tell him about like specific players that I remember from playing. In his case, Independiente is his favorite club. Yeah. And he's like, "Wow, you know this guy?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like I used to like try to memorize so many different players and stuff. Not because I wanted to, just. I think it was really because I played FIFA a lot and career mode.
I feel like that's what happened a lot because like you see all the like, for example, every time I hear like Dustin and
like
and our friend Joey,
FM,
they talk about all these random dudes and like
FM legend.
Yeah, they literally know him because they play Football Manager. But I think, I mean, obviously, I want to believe that I know soccer, but a lot of these like new name guys, like I have no idea what's it.
And and that's my biggest takeaway when people are like, "Oh, you have to Google who this person is," and I'm like, dude, in our reality, there's like literally maybe I would say 1% of soccer players that you actually know. You think you know a lot, but it's probably a 1%.
Yeah,
and everybody else is kind of like a no name,
And also like. This is not bashing Dustin or Joey, but those people that like they always
AI clip this
or they talk about like all the teams in the league, like for example there's like a bunch of accounts that talk about I know this organization or this team or that team. I just realized that the cat is in the room. I forgot that he was in the room. I just saw something black jump and I was like, oh shoot. Okay, but they're like, oh yeah, like for example today I was reading something about like, oh yeah, I know this organization is badly run because I've been following them. It's like, how do you follow 30 teams, bro? And how do you know the insides and out of every single one of them? I follow one team in the MLS and it's hard for me to keep up. How could like it just seems impossible. Even when you hear not to also bash on them, but like not Tom Boger, but the guys that did all the podcasts with them. And obviously, I mean, their job is to watch MLS day in and day out. So I can see how they're well informed. But sometimes, like, they would have opinions about the Dynamo, and you're like, I don't know about that. Or like, not even them, just a regular dude that doesn't live in this market or doesn't follow the Dynamo, and they'll be like, oh, this guy plays like this and like that, and you're like, did you really watch him, or like, did you watch just the one game because it was a prime time, and they played like I don't know, LAFC.
This is the point. James, Ramos, if you players are free, no. And that's my point. There's some. Don't get me wrong; those guys are legends. Like you would have loved to have them in your team, but not now. I don't think it's.
Ramos won the 2010 World Cup, didn't he?
Yes. Yeah.
It's been 16 years, guys.
Yeah. I mean,
it's time to move on.
No.
I love Ramos. Ramos is one of my favorite ones.
And as a Barcelona fan, Ramos is probably one of my favorite defenders out there.
And I could care less about Barcelona, and I could even care less than about Madrid because they're like a direct rival to me in a sense, just because Boca played them once. But but yeah, like but those guys like that are like, oof, like
Yeah,
I'm in love with them just because of how they play.
yeah.
But James Rodriguez, he doesn't have a good track record, so I mean personally, I wouldn't bring him. So I know
And
I don't see what people see in them. To be honest, let me know in the comment who was it? Who was that? Nestor.
that was Nestor.
Tell me what
He's
you
a free
see.
agents. Yeah, yeah,
What do you
yeah.
see in
I knew what he
James?
meant. They're free
Ramos.
agents.
I like Ramos, but what do you see in James that you want him so bad?
This see Jaden said I want some young depth. Cincinnati got a guy I really liked in Fletcher. I mean, there's a lot of play. I think like anything, right? It's a matter of if it fits your system and you what do you want to play, and a lot of times you get it right and sometimes you don't, and we've seen that obviously from the Dynamo as well. We're gonna name Taguinho and Toyosi are two bust out of the tenure that has been
Yeah.
under Pat Onstad, which two out of however many they've signed is not bad
Yeah.
in
And I mean,
reality.
it's
It's
gonna
not.
happen. Not every signing is gonna be, Messi incarnate. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. The,
sometimes you hit them, sometimes you won't hit it.
and last year, in all reality, it was just the lack of signings. And again, we've talked about this enough that it would have put them in a weird situation. But looking at the amount of transfers that we've gotten so far, Chris, I mean, you have to say that this is really good transfer that they're bringing in. One of the best, on.
Oh yeah.
And I know that Dynamo verse out there in Twitter world, it's probably going bananas for a lot of these guys, and they have a lot of questions. And why are you not bringing James? Why are you not bringing Ramos? Why are you not bringing Griezmann? Like they're just throwing a bunch of different stuff out there, right? But at the end of the day, like you look at what they're bringing in, which is to me, and I mentioned it, it's a very win now mentality, kind of
Yeah.
like let's get back in the fold of things. We're bringing quality players with leadership skills, with the experience. So this is a quick move and obviously with the young talent they have around, they want to
Yeah.
push everybody forward, and
100%.
you're not necessarily throwing all your eggs in one basket of like, hey, we brought another Héctor Herrera, but there's nothing for him to play around. Like it
Yeah.
happened when he arrived, right? And it took for some time to build. And there's no, yes, Héctor Herrera did sign with the or is looking to sign and return to the Houston Dynamo, but it's not the same Héctor Herrera that came
Yeah.
originally to the Houston Dynamo. And the other guys, we don't know if they're exactly what Héctor Herrera was, in 2023 and 2024 for
Yeah.
the Houston Dynamo. So a ton of different, it's fun. It's fun. What
Yeah.
did Will? Somebody said,
Also,
yeah,
hold on, let me say something real quick. Also, a lot of people always like bitch and moan about, oh, you always get players from like Eastern Europe and stuff like that. This is, I think, the only window so far that they strictly went to South America. So, I mean, we have to see that they went to the best leagues in South America. They didn't get the best, the top of the line players from those leagues, but I mean, you brought two guys that are experienced and they played for good teams. I know Santos wasn't one of the best teams in the Brazilian league, but Vélez, they've been consistent. So I'm okay with any of those guys, especially if you're bringing the captain of that team. I mean, is a team that has been, successful somewhat in the last few years that I know of, by watching the league. And then you're bringing guys from Santos. You said Halter playing Botafogo, in a team that played Copa Libertadores. Santos might not have the best year, but I mean it's a literally legendary team from I think is the best league in the Americas. Like
yeah.
over Liga MX, over the MLS, over the Argentinian league. The Brazilian league is
Yeah,
the league.
I'm gonna disagree here with Will,
Me
and
too.
when he's talking about like old business, yeah, we get it. I try, but they tried it with Hector in a very big Mexican market in Houston. It just wasn't it, and it could be again. We've basically beat this horse to death, but the marketing aspect of it wasn't there. So what would you
Yeah.
expect even if they bring another player, highly regarded in the world, but here in Houston, they don't care.
Yeah.
Plus, with the Texans being where they are, I mean, that just completely puts everybody in the back burner, which is it's unfortunate that
Yeah.
is the case because a lot of the people that were going to the Dynamo games for a long time, as soon as the Astros were doing good, they shifted to that. and vice versa, right? I mean, the Texans were for the last few years weren't as great, and people kind of migrated. Now they're going all the way back. So, I mean, we understand that that is the city we live in. You know, people bandwagon into the winners, and they do call themselves diehards because they do rep those teams, but it's just part of it too. It's like a part of this. There's really no perfect formula to getting this right. So whether you bring a play, I mean, hell, Ronaldinho. I was talking to this to David. I'm like, Ronaldinho went to Querétaro. Like, who would have guessed, right? And he told me the whole story behind it and how basically a rep from Querétaro went to party with Ronaldinho just to convince him for like 3 days till it happened. And Ronaldinho thought it was a joke, but they paid him obviously a lot of money to come,
Yeah.
which obviously that was the kicker for him. But it's just that. I mean, and then what happened after that? Ronaldinho, I mean, that's a big name to come to Querétaro. And then Querétaro is not really
It's Querétaro.
like Ronaldinho left and
Yeah.
that was it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it just happened and that was it. Now, that's kind of the idea that's going to happen with Miami, right? At this point, you bring in Messi and you bring all his friends, but they're doing a different path of like
Yeah.
bringing young players like a Mikael, like other young South Americans to build this team for it to be a long lasting effect for when Messi is out of the picture.
Yeah.
Obviously, Father Time is
For the time undefeated.
undefeated, bro. So, like,
100
there
and
is
no.
going to be a time without Messi for sure. And I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, with Ronaldo and all those players, but you have to be able to take advantage. And I think that that's something the Dynamo miss in the first coming of Héctor Herrera. And that was very visible by the way the roster just went to full crap and the team just didn't perform. And so here's another go around of like, again, this transfer window looks fantastic. Now, in paper, it does. Will these players pan out? That we don't
Yeah.
know. And you don't know till you're in it and in the middle of it. So it's
Yeah.
just interesting. And again, it's fun. It's definitely fun. I mean, you can feel the season kind of getting closer. Um, we do know, and I mentioned that earlier, that there is an open practice for media on Thursday to attend. So we'll have content, I'm sure, from there. Get some interviews with the players and with Ben Olsen and whoever else is made available. But yeah, Chris.
No, funny you mentioned Ben Olsen because I was gonna say there has been a lot of talk about who's coming in, who's going out, as we should be talking about it. But I think an important part that we have to touch on is what the role of Ben Olsen is going to be in this team. Obviously, he's the coach, so that is his job, right? But last year, we saw that 10 games in, there was like no wins or 1 or 2 wins in like the first 10, 15 games. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, like, the MLS it doesn't matter yet. You have to wait till the end of the year and this and that. And obviously, I'm the type of person that every game matters, every point matters, and I think that's how it should be played. Obviously, we live in a league where more than 50% of the teams make it to the playoffs, so you can give yourself the luxury of not winning every single game and still make it to the next round, which is the playoffs. But I also don't want. I think also the fire should be burning a little bit under Ben Olsen. I know it's maybe a little bit early to be talking about, is it job on the line or is it not on the line or whatever it may be. I don't even know his contract situation, to be honest. It might be his last or maybe second to last. I know he had like 3-4 years or something like that. I honestly don't know. But the question is,
He is under contract year. This is it for
yeah,
him.
this is okay. So yeah,
This is
I mean,
it's and I think it's similar to Pat. If his contract's not over this year, I think it may be
yeah,
next year. But it's right there. I mean,
yeah,
and to answer, a good thing that they mentioned the assistant coach. Obviously, we heard
yeah,
that Josh Wolf was moving to Minnesota as I'm assuming a second assistant, so right behind what Juan Guerra is to Ben Olsen here. And yeah, I mean, they have so many different coaches. I don't think that they need to add another one.
yeah. They had
But
too
because
many.
they have so many, I would not be surprised if they do.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, from what I gather is assistant wise, at this point you probably obviously have Juan Guerra being
yeah,
right. Obviously, well, he's been the one that takes over when Ben's been suspended. So, and then behind that, probably Colin, and then Kenny
yeah.
Bundy. And
No, yeah. Before we get any further, if you're in the chat, if you're commenting anything, please leave us a thumbs up. Go ahead and do that, please, if you don't mind. It helps us get a little bit farther and to more eyes. So go ahead and click that like button or whatever it may be. If you don't follow the show, go ahead and follow it too, and then follow us on social media too at BayouCitySoccer.net, or net is the website, but you can follow us there. But going to that was one of my biggest criticisms last year, is that you had 5 head coaches possibly, and not one idea sometimes seem realistic, and we were like, what the hell, like we were scratching our head.
And we know they're very it's like special package type of thing. We know
we were gonna say something else.
But we know like Kenny Bundy, he runs the set pieces in favor of like Dynamo attacking.
As much as I love Kenny Bundy, having a special special pieces, or whatever, set pieces, is the dumbest thing to me in the world. But whatever.
What's it called? What was I gonna say? Oh, and then I think Colin is the opposite. Erling Colin, he does like the defensive set pieces, and then you had. Honestly, I don't know exactly what Josh Wolf did, and like in that sense, and I don't know what Juan Guerra does, but I know those other guys were they had specific roles, because if you're ever at a game and there was a corner, you'll see who the coach is for that scenario, because they'll be on their feet.
It's a goddamn corner, instructions.
It's interesting, because obviously it's not something you're used to, right? Like for the longest, it's just like there's one coach. Yes, you understand there's people helping him, but not to the point of like getting up there and giving instructions,
like actually coaching.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I mean, who knows? Maybe in 20, 30 years, it'll be like an NFL.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, that's what it's looking like.
That's one thing that, now thinking about it, I would always see Wolf up in the by like Carlin, who obviously left as well, and they would be up there. So exactly, what is he doing and what role? Because it's not like they can have like a walkie-talkie out there. David drops by to throw H Heart. Yes, H looks like to be back. Nestor says, always follow, love to hear about my city.
Shout
team
out.
Keep it up, guys. Thank you guys. Jay Hurtado, a lot of people, man, are the Bayou Banter is going bananas. We're gonna keep that name rolling till it kind of catches on. If you want to sponsor it, we don't mind. We can make it the McDonald's Bayou City, or Bayou Banter, for whatever the case may be. Chris, but a lot of topics to talk about. I think we did a good job keeping within an hour. It's gonna be Jay Hurtado asking for Movimiento Naranja.
We'll work on it, guys.
Sábado. If it comes back, it's probably gonna be a Thursday. So we'll try to bring it back. We probably skip this Thursday just because we need to
figure it out.
Back.
Yeah.
But we'll be back. I'll be back. I think. I don't know,
jump into.
Chris. I may have to. Well, the thing I was gonna say, I may have to get one of the newbies to either take over this podcast for me, and like so you get and then
nothing against them, but
I know but or we switch it up, but we'll see. Maybe we have to put a Whataburger as a sponsor. That'd be good, dude. I'm waiting for what's your favorite? What's your go-to?
I mean, my go-to is a patty melt.
Make me hungry, bro. It's only 10:10. It's still open. It's 24 hours.
If not, then if I'm not fitting.
Oh wait, okay. Like, what do you patty melt? All right. Yeah, what else?
And then if I'm
like, what do you put on the patty melt? Like just as it comes?
Just as is.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
And then
I didn't even know there was options to put stuff.
Oh, I mean, I throw jalapenos on mine and stuff like that. Yeah.
I'm not Mexican.
But and the one that I kind of wait for now, because I used to be Swiss burger. The mushroom Swiss burger.
That was good.
It's also
I tried the buffalo one with the.
I don't like it. It's just chicken nuggets.
It's just chicken nuggets on bread. I was like, that's weird.
I was gonna say the one that I do wait for, and I'm waiting for, is the pico de gallo one. That one's my favorite. It's not spicy or anything. It's just so good. Now
I want to try the Monterey. I haven't
grill onions on the patty. Yes. Jay, no, I said possibly. We'll see. I don't want to have to do too many podcasts, so. But I want to keep the other one going, so we'll see kind of how it goes. Dang, now I want Whataburger, dude.
If not, just a double meat.
I used to always get
Double
like
cheese.
double meat, and then eventually I started getting the specialty ones. But once they discontinued the mushroom Swiss like
Swiss.
as a standard, I don't go as often as I would have liked to. But it's okay. Maybe my heart and my arteries are
Yeah,
thanking me for
we
that.
need to
You know.
stop eating. That's a true, and that's a true thing. We need to go more salads, but
No, yeah, no, I know, right? It's never been like, oh, you know what I'm craving today? I'm craving a salad.
a
Like,
salad from Whataburger.
dude, if
I don't even
I,
know if they had those.
I'm sure they do, but now when I go, like, I don't see it. Like, it's there probably, but
My
I
wife
don't
always
acknowledge it.
she gets the grill stuff when we go to like
Oh,
these
okay.
places.
I
I
used to
like
do
it.
like the when I was like doing keto, like this is a long time ago when keto was kind of like popular, and I would go and get like the burger with no bread, and it actually wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
Interesting.
It's not as bad as you would think. I would get a double cheeseburger,
We just get meat,
or yeah,
meat and vegetables.
it's good. It was good, but
Interesting.
all right, Christian, man, I think this is gonna be it for this
Yep.
episode. Again, I think we're definitely looking forward to the return of Héctor Herrera, to the return of the Houston Dynamo season. Um, dude, sometimes I feel like I'm too bored not doing much. And I realized I was talking to Hooties, and I was like, bro, I haven't been to Shell Energy Stadium since October 4th. That's how I remember it so vividly.
That's crazy.
And I was like,
4
"Dang."
months.
That's whenever it was just against San Diego, and it was like such a weird game, right? Because there was like 3 goals in the last 5 minutes, or added time.
Yeah.
Dynamo lost, by the way, if you guys don't know. You know, I'm not yeah, no spoiler alerts here. This is what happened. But Christian, you can tell the people how they can
Yes.
connect, and we'll close out the show, man.
As always, guys, the website is BayouCitySoccer.net. That's where we're going to post everything and anything that we do here at Bayou City Soccer. Follow us on social media at Bayou City Soccer, Instagram, Facebook, X, and Blue Sky. I think maybe the TikTok is around there. So
Yes.
follows there. And I would say, especially nowadays, keep up with X, keep up with Instagram, because we are going to be on top of all these rumors, especially what happens with the novela Bogusz Ponce. I know you guys are interested in that, so we try to get information also from our sources. So if we get anything and if we are able to put it out there, we will let you guys know. So keep up with us as well. Make sure you keep an eye out. Sometimes we do get information before anybody else does.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that nobody else does, but sometimes you might want to be glued, or at least have your notifications on when it comes.
Which our Discord community is gonna start popping, man. Like
our Discord community, the year's about to start. Make
Yeah.
sure you tune into that. There should be a link also on our site. Check it out. Be part of that community as well. It's basically talking. I don't know if you want to talk to us every day, but it's basically talking with us and everybody in our group every single day. We already have some people in there. It's I think the cheapest option is like $3 a month or something like that. Right. So it's just a little drink that you would buy at the grocery store, and obviously that helps us put together some stuff that we want to do this year, especially with the World Cup coming. There's a lot of stuff going on in the background, guys. Me personally, I want to give a shout out to Rudy and to Dustin, they have been putting a lot of work in this off season, and honestly, I think you guys are going to enjoy what Bayou City Soccer is going to be doing around the city, and hopefully in a lot of stuff. I can't say anything yet, but the stuff is being worked out. Dustin is putting a lot of extra time in this stuff, and I think it's gonna pay off, and hopefully we'll be able to.
And shout out to We Got Soccer. We'll probably make it out there sooner than later. I think I need to go get. I saw that they. I mean, obviously they get the greatest and latest stuff, and I saw that they
put jersey.
Did you see that those old school jerseys? Did you?
No,
see
I haven't, but I know the Dynamo's getting one, right?
Oh yeah, the Dynamo. That's gonna be another thing.
We need some
away jersey. We're gonna have to take a boat and see which one's y'all's favorite too, like away jersey. I really would love a throwback white jersey, but it seems like they do you think they'll do a purple again, or you think they'll go back to black?
I think they'll go back to black.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
They should go back to black.
I would want to get a white one, but like not just like just regular white. Like go something like a funky pattern would be cool, but throwback white with like that Space City blue.
Some dash.
Yeah, I'm just
some Dash Dynamo matchup or something like that.
Well, shout out to the Dash too. I think the guys will be back for Orange and Blueprints.
Yes.
The Dash have been signing a ton of really good players from college.
They're stacking.
Not there, and expect a couple more dropping. Well,
Oh.
actually, one dropped today, and I just dropped something that was in my hand. So that's how I say it dropped. But they're stacking up players, man. It's interesting, and it's another team that definitely needs some love in the city
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah, make sure if you're not following the YouTube channel, make sure you follow us there, and also turn on the notifications also because, like Rudy said, not only we come on Mondays usually, but you're gonna have Orange and Blueprint also, which is all Dash, and then like we said, hopefully we'll get that Spanish stuff started for all our Spanish speakers, and who knows, maybe more content with the World Cup and stuff like that. So stay tuned to that. And also on X Spaces, we talked about doing a little bit more Spaces. We
Yes,
had our
away
first.
games. We'll probably
Yeah,
do some getaway games,
away games. We might
post
do
game
also
stuff.
some
Maybe
one-on-one.
post game
Yeah,
talk.
yeah.
Some of our guys will probably be in the presser, and then some of them maybe getting reactions live as well. So yeah, it's
There's a
gonna be
lot.
it's gonna be fun, and we hope that you guys, like Chris mentions, be a part of the community, help us grow it. We love soccer. We love our teams, just covering them and giving you, a straight information, right?
Yes,
A lot of speculation on this episode as I say
lots.
this, but whenever it's confirmed info, we give you what we find as like, hey, we did all
Yeah,
this research. Here are the numbers. You take it as you please,
yeah,
and just the truth will set you free for
yeah.
sure.
And let me say something in the last 30 seconds. We found out online that unfortunately Glenn Davis is not going to be the voice of the Houston Dynamo. As a person that respects what he has done for the community and everything he's done, we wish him nothing but the best in whatever it is that is coming up next in his career. He's been a true voice in the community, and even though me personally and we don't concur in everything that different opinions and stuff like that, but I think respect where respect is due, and I think Glenn has been one of those giant voices in our community, especially in the last, I don't know, 15-20 years. So shout out to him, shout out to everything that he's doing. Don't forget to go check out his show Soccer Matters on the radio, and all the best to Glenn. Hopefully we can have him on the show as well if he has time, and just continue to do that. It's gonna suck not to see him, not to hear him, but I think whatever happened with him and the organization. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna here to defend anybody, but I just want to respect what he has done for the community, and I think we all here at Bayou City Soccer wish him all the best as a group, and everything that he kind of means to us, also trying to cover soccer here in Houston. So shout out to
Yeah.
Glenn.
Yeah,
Yep.
well said. Well said. I'll just say ditto for sure from what you said. And obviously, he takes the time to sometimes invite us to be a
Yeah,
part of his show and kind of get that conversation going
for sure.
with the, podcasters and the people that cover the Houston Dynamo and the Houston
Yes,
Dash
sir.
and just soccer all around. So, well said, man. We hope you enjoy the show. I feel like I did. I feel like I can go another hour, but I
Me
should go
too,
to
sleep.
sleep. Right, I
Yeah,
should go to sleep
probably,
because
probably.
we
We had a
got
long
we
night, long night yesterday.
yeah. Don't tell anybody, but I took a nap sometime around.
Don't tell nobody's boss.
Yeah, no, dude, I wanted to nap so bad right after I clocked out, and it's like let me take a nap, but I couldn't. But all right, guys, man, appreciate you guys joining us today, Jay Hurtado, Nestor, all those guys,
Maddie.
David, Maddie, Fire Will, everybody that joined. I'm just ringing Manny, Leo, a bunch of people out here on the Bayou Banter. We look forward to seeing you next week. Hopefully, Mateusz Bogusz, and then maybe we talk about Ponce and that.
Maybe somebody.
I would just leave it out there. Y'all have a good night. Take care, and don't forget to hold it down and keep it forever orange. Peace.